Today, you have an endless array of music at your fingertips, ready to be listened to anytime and anywhere, but it hasn't always been this way. Once upon a time, to hear your favorite songs, you needed a vinyl record. Then came cassette tapes. 19 years later, CDs emerged, and we can't forget to add to the list the MP3 player, which, with the advent of the internet and some piracy sites like Napster, gained enormous popularity. But nothing compares to what we have today with streaming platforms. Among many options, Spotify is undoubtedly the most well-known and popular. However, those who witness all this success may not imagine that its beginning was controversial and illegal. This is Daniel Ek, born on February 21, 1983 in the city of Stockholm, Sweden. He always demonstrated prodigious talent in the field of technology, starting his career at the age of 13 when he opened his own business creating websites. The year was 1996, and the internet was booming. Many people wanted to be part of it, and his business gained traction. He started by charging only for his website creation services and gradually increased the fees until they reached $5,000 for each service. At the age of 18, Daniel Ek already led a team of 25 people and earned an average of $50,000 per month. His aptitude for technology and business was undeniable. He completed high school in 2002 and began studying engineering at the KTH Royal Institute of Technology. He dropped out of university after only 8 weeks to work at Tradera, a Swedish online auction company founded in 1999 and sold to eBay in 2006. Daniel then founded a digital advertising company called Advertigo, which he later sold to Tradedoubler in 2006 for a substantial amount. In the same year, he had a brief and controversial stint as the CEO of uTorrent, a notorious piracy platform. At 23, Daniel Ek owned a Ferrari and lived in a luxury apartment in Stockholm. However, this financial success that provided him with early retirement led to a state of depression. That's when he sought refuge in his other great passion, music, and decided to revolutionize the industry, thus beginning the journey to build Spotify. Between the late 90s and the early 2000s, a service called Napster became extremely popular. Its operation was extremely simple. Users connected to the internet and could then search for and download songs from other Napster-connected users directly, without passing through central servers. This allowed people to easily share files, especially MP3 music files, completely free of charge. However, record labels did not like this idea at all. Several legal battles were opened against Napster, which could not withstand the pressure and eventually succumbed. Later, some other similar services emerged, showing that piracy was almost impossible to eliminate. Faced with this, Daniel Ek realized that all this was having a very negative impact on the music industry, which began to make much less money, ultimately affecting the artists as well. Daniel envisioned that the solution would be to create a new service that was even better than Napster, and allowed musicians and record labels to make money from their songs. So, he had the idea of a platform where, instead of having to download songs, people could instantly access all the music in the world, funded by ads with a percentage of ad revenue going to the artists. And so, the initial idea for Spotify was born. Daniel was confident that this would be a better experience for users and a way to save the music industry from the threat of piracy. But all the young entrepreneur's enthusiasm was not enough to gain approval from the major record labels for his disruptive project. In fact, if Daniel had known how complicated and controversial things would become, he probably would never have taken the idea of Spotify forward. When Daniel had the idea for Spotify, he wanted to end piracy in the music industry. But what if I told you they started by pirating themselves? Hold on, we'll get there. With just an idea in mind, Daniel invited his friend Martin Lorentzen on this journey to create Spotify. Oh, remember Tradedoubler, which bought Daniel's company? Well, Martin owned that company. During the summer of 2006, they recruited talented programmers to create a functional prototype of the product, since this would be crucial for negotiating with the record labels. And here's the irony. To launch a music application, they needed the music, obviously, but they didn't have permission from the record labels, so the solution was piracy. the team illegally pirated millions of songs and, after intense dedication, launched the first version of Spotify, which was indeed incredible. For Apple, it was sleek, professional, and had an optimized system. And most importantly, when you clicked on a song, it started playing almost immediately. To achieve this, they had the brilliant idea of fragmenting the music file into several smaller parts. This way, it was easier to load even with the slow internet of the time. Once they built the platform, they sent beta invitations to gather feedback from others, and everyone who used the service loved it. So Dan found himself ready to negotiate with the record labels, confident that his idea would be easily accepted. But that's not what happened. In his meetings, he explained his idea of free music funded by ads, where record labels would receive a large percentage of all ad revenue generated. But as soon as the record labels heard the word free, they lost interest. What they wanted was a fixed price every time a song was streamed on Spotify. However, there was no guarantee that ad revenue would cover such an agreement. After numerous rejections, they found a solution. In addition to the free plan, Spotify would also add a paid version of its service for a fixed monthly fee. Moreover, record labels and music publishers would receive about 70% of all generated revenue, along with a significant portion of Spotify's shares. Despite seeming like a terrible deal for Spotify, they didn't have much choice. The good news is that now they could finally legally add songs to their catalog, but for now only in Europe. Negotiations for other parts of the world, such as the United States, would drag on for a few more years. Finally, in October 2008, Spotify was officially launched. But the problems were just beginning. Record labels wielded significant power over Spotify, threatening to withdraw licenses if they didn't make the required changes. One change in particular irked the Spotify team, which was removing features from the free version, making it worse to somewhat force people to migrate to the paid plan. But faced with the power of the record labels, they had no choice but to comply with these demands. Another challenge that Spotify faced was with artists. Some even completely removed their music from Spotify's catalog, including Metallica, the Beatles, and Bob Dylan. Over the years, many other musicians publicly criticized Spotify for how much it paid artists. Taylor Swift was a notable example who, in 2014, claimed that Spotify was devaluing music and removed all her songs from the app. But no matter how dissatisfied the artists were, those who left Spotify usually returned when they realized it was better to at least receive some royalties than nothing. Many also understood that streaming had come to stay. Users seemed to love the service, and Spotify began to grow incredibly fast. Another even bigger problem came to light. The company reported a loss of $4.4 million in 2008. The question then was, can Spotify become economically viable? Like almost every technology startup, Spotify couldn't generate profits in the first years of its existence. To make matters worse, other music streaming services like Apple Music emerged, making things even more challenging for the company. Currently, we have several options like Amazon Music, Deezer, YouTube Music. But despite this fierce competition, Spotify maintained its leadership. However, Spotify's economy remained a challenge. The free option resulted in financial losses since most revenue came from paid subscriptions. To tackle this situation, Spotify began heavily investing in podcasts, acquiring exclusive renowned content and the podcasting platform Anchor. This strategy aimed to reduce royalty payments to record labels as users spent more time listening to podcasts instead of music. Additionally, Spotify shifted its focus to offer a personalized music experience by investing in machine learning. Personalized playlists became popular, allowing Spotify to direct consumption towards less expensive to license songs or those that ensured the highest revenue for the company. However, this approach sparked controversy, with criticisms of real artists being suppressed in favor of songs by fake artists and speculation that artificial intelligence could replace real artists in the future. Despite differing opinions, it is undeniable that Spotify played a significant role in the transition of the music industry to streaming and had a significant impact on how people consume music today. The service now has over 200 million subscribers worldwide. Its revenue has been increasing year after year, but it hasn't been enough to register profits. Will Spotify be able to stay on top, Only time will tell, but you can leave your opinion in the comments. We've also prepared another video here that we're sure you'll enjoy. Before you go, leave a like and subscribe. A big hug and see you in the next video. Do you know which business model offers high profit margins, immense scalability, and requires low initial investment? The startup market specializing in software development is the optimal choice to bring together all these advantages. However, the only place where you will truly find a highly scalable service that demands low investment is with Roadmap. Roadmap has global experience providing consulting and developing apps for startups in the United States, Europe, and Latin America, making it by far the best option for new entrepreneurs. If you want to venture into the premier market, contact Roadmap right away through the website www.roadmap.co/home or via email at contact@roadmap.co.